All right, so Austin Steinbart's returned. I'm going to quickly cover some of his recent videos. I'll play a clip just to introduce the topic here.
Was an epic roller coaster of a year. I traveled all around the country and I worked with some really cool people.
He worked with some really cool people this past year.
Be kind of discreet this year, but if you're paying attention to politics this whole time, I can say with absolute certainty that you definitely witnessed some of my work.
So he's had some large-scale influence on American politics.
Whether or not my name happened to be on it. So 2024 was pretty great, and 2025 is going to be even better. My amigo Matt Baker coined the phrase, the epic timeline. And when I heard that, I was like, damn, that's awesome, I'm stealing that. Because, my friends, we are definitely on the epic timeline. At the moment, I can't talk publicly about some of the most amazing stuff that's been happening, partially because I'm more mature now and have learned from the mistakes of the past, and partially because I had to sign some non-disclosure agreements.
Okay, so many years ago, I saw this happening. It's very magnificently horrible happening that did have a impact on my belief system about the world. I came to understand upon this happening that there may be more significant forces influencing the direction of current events in this world. So then I went about trying to identify these forces. Should I really be concerned about what these so-called Freemasons are doing? How influential really is this so-called IHS? Has our world been taken over by a sun-worshipping cult? I was a person with many questions, so I chose the banner motto, so many questions. So early on, at this point I would say about 4 years ago, Austin came onto the scene. My interest in him was partly because, like in this clip, as he intimated,
at the moment, I can't talk publicly about some of the most amazing stuff that's been happening.
And through this intimation, it seemed to me he has sources of information that may have a more accurate handle on what's going on in the world compared to those most of us have access to. There are events occurring in the real world, such as a spotlight of a queue with a rabbit appearing on the Capitol building, that correlated with things Austin was doing on his own YouTube channel. There are many fascinating correlations I covered at that time that seemed to show that Austin was a part of something bigger, maybe attached to a group that operated this particular 8chan 8kun posting strategy that started a worldwide phenomenon at the time. But since I've come across Austin and watched his story, many other interesting characters have come forward to share their understanding of the white hat as well as black hat forces that influence the course of events. So I'll briefly mention some highlights and things I've taken away in my coming to understand Austin and compare that to another source whose trust is established, though whose name I do not know. Austin has said to pay attention to XRP. And now we have JP Morgan projecting 3 to 8 billion in inflows for potential XRP ETF. Back in 2020, Austin brought our attention to Elon Musk, calling him a friend. I covered what I thought was a potential political turn for Elon Musk going back to 2020, 4 years ago. Elon Musk now owns the platform we called Twitter, now renamed, and Elon somehow finds a way to impact almost every major current event in the United States. Some would argue it's as if he's the main character and we're living in his game. Austin spoke of the evils of something he described as D6 and worked through intelligence agencies to control the grand chessboard of global politics, also with help of the British Crown. He suggested that progressive figureheads should ally with the right in order to defeat the radical left. And now we're seeing such an alliance with RFK Jr., Tulsi Gabbard, among others. I was lucky enough to obtain a special folder from an individual named George Nassif, known as the Q folder. As it so seems, I can't confirm this, back in 2018, Austin Steinbart was a known entity, and there were a few videos on his YouTube prior to 2020. I've been in contact with an individual, not George, who claims to have influenced Austin early on. I don't have any proof of it. But again, going back to the basis of this video, as well as my YouTube channel, I'm just looking in the environment for clues that explain why things are the way they are. Are there any individuals who are in the know? Among individuals in the know, are most of them good or are most of them bad? Or is it a mix? If I can correlate information from Austin with other sources, that may help to paint a picture of what the world actually is. And so with this other source, you note here with Austin's video title, The Epic Timeline, this other anonymous source has communicated with me extensively over a few year period. Are we multiversal? It has been indicated to me that there are ribbons of time, not much unlike the anime Steins Gate, ways things can happen where some ways of outcomes are closer to each other compared to others. Experimental possibilities that occur when timelines get close to one another. This source indicates a type of quantum financial system, but take that in consideration with this.
Reference to Q in this show, I'm referencing quantum, as in quantum party or quantum physics. For legal purposes, this show shall be considered First Amendment protected.
So in this apparent emphasis of Austin's rebrand, which started a few years ago, Austin is no longer donning the hat of so-called baby Q, but is instead expressing an interest in the concept of quantum. 4 years ago, he did have some videos on the topic of quantum computers and qubits, etc. This individual seemed to indicate that his future self may have communicated with his past self using quantum technology, which also relates to these special posts. Years ago, this other source told me to pay attention to Sean Ryan and Sean Ryan's guests. And as you know, 10 days ago, he interviewed Sam Shoemate about the Cybertruck bomber with an emailed manifesto indicating UFO-level technology operated by China as well as the United States. This Anon source always emphasized being wary of China. For the fourth PSYOP group, China as being a reference point of focus was emphasized in both of their groundbreaking videos. Here's one example.
The peaceful pro-democracy demonstration in China comes to a violent end.
So in this setting, now in the year 2025, Austin returns. It appears he's now focusing more on just putting out good information. Like he has this video that was very interesting covering the topic of airstrikes and using safe gas-based explosives to put out fires. It appears there are still some secret sources that he's using for information. And you can presume if his fingerprint has been on some of the events of the past year, that he has knowledge of the secret coalition to save the country. I should also mention that Elon Musk is rumored to have his own secret sources. I've mentioned narrative strategies before, but have not really made any explicit statements on it. I did not want to highlight this organization too much prior to the 2024 election. If there are secret do-gooders, let them continue to be secret if that's what they prefer. Is there a hidden patriot network that involves Ingersoll Lockwood? Yeah, they're still posting, and they're also interested in the drone question too. If you followed and understood what I've been saying, I thank you for your patience throughout this somewhat rambling vid. I've been meaning to make a video just on Greenland and Austin's previous prediction regarding Greenland, but I think that's a story that still has yet to develop. If events occur, if posts are made by this young man that further help create epiphanies on how this thing called this crazy world works, I will do updates. Thanks for watching.